One of the most common questions that we get at All Aboard is how we teach writing in our classes. There's two important things to know about how we teach writing. The first is that we teach the writing process, so we can talk about that in a little bit more detail later. But the second is that we teach a love for writing and an understanding that writing happens for the purpose of writing for an audience, and that we want to encourage our students to really develop a joy for writing that they can carry with them throughout their lives. The reason that we want to teach students about the writing process is because authentic writing happens because we have topics. Everybody has topics to write about, and our students are no different. Children need to understand that throughout their lives there's experiences or topics that they feel passionately about, and so they want to explore those topics further and share them with an audience. So the reason that we teach the writing process is because all students are different. They have different interests, they have different stories of things that have happened in their lives. They have different experiences to share through their writing. So the writing process is a series of 5 steps that we go through as writers, and this comes from a lot of research that's been done by people such as Donald Graves and Don Murray, who show that the way professional writers write follows a similar structure, no matter what topics they're writing about. So the writing process is pre-writing, drafting, revising, editing, and publishing. And so this process is something that no matter what topics we're writing about, we can go through the same process and practice it in different ways based on what we're writing about and who we're writing for. Pre-writing is the time when we're coming up with ideas for our writing. Basically how it looks is that we're going to be, in our classes we teach a number of strategies based on the genre of writing that we're working with for a unit. The students are able to use those strategies pretty flexibly to come up with their own ideas for what they want to write about. So at this stage we're just coming up with lists of ideas, we're generating topics of things we're interested in writing about and sharing with our audience. So the second stage of the writing process with drafting is when we do the writing. So it's where the students are choosing one of their ideas that they wrote down during the pre-writing. They're actually getting the writing done. So they're writing long, they're improving their stamina with writing, they're trying to write longer, and they're just getting a lot of ideas down. But this is also a time when we're getting our ideas down as our sloppy copy. So we're drafting it in a way that's not perfect for an audience yet. We're just drafting multiple stories a lot of times, or multiple pieces that then later we could take through the other stages of the writing process. However, there's usually several drafts that we write that never go through the other stages because we don't choose to publish them for an audience. So, but this is where we're basically just writing a lot. So within our classrooms, how this looks is students are choosing one of their topics from the pre-writing stages, and we're writing the stories, and every day the teacher is teaching different elements of writing and modeling them for students in order to help them grow as writers and to push them to try new things in their writing. And this is where we're really teaching the craft of writing. So for instance, we're teaching about how to write a personal narrative. During the drafting stages, we'll also teach how to add dialogue to our writing, how to choose stronger verbs, how to add more imagery to our work. And all of it is based on what's developmentally appropriate for students. So revision, there's many different ways to revise, and revision is something that's an ongoing process also. So usually about halfway through a unit, after we've drafted several pieces, then the students will choose one piece that they want to spend more time on, and they'll start revising it and editing it. So during the revision stages, this is where we're adding more work, more to our writing work. We're also perhaps rereading to see, okay, maybe this sentence doesn't really fit into this story, or I should move it to a different part of my story, or I didn't fully tell this part of the story and it's a really important part, so I want to expand on that part. It's also a time when we might change the words. So one of the really important factors of writing that second language learners need extra help with is word choice. So making sure that they're increasing their vocabulary, but actually using those new vocabulary words in their work. So this is where sometimes we'll go back and we'll say that we're looking for boring words and we're trying to add more exciting words to our writing. During the revision stage, sometimes looks like the whole class trying certain things out, certain strategies that the teacher is introducing, but other times students will work in small groups, or a pair of students might work specifically with a teacher on something that they need either extra help with, or maybe it's something that's more challenging than what's been taught and we're really trying to push them to new heights with their writing. Also, it involves some one-on-one time with individual students, which is built into our class structure, a small meeting within the class where the teacher gets to check in with individual students and set individual goals with them. So editing, when we get to editing stage for writing, sometimes we're fixing up spelling, we're checking punctuation, we're ensuring that what's on the paper is really what we meant to say. During this time, there's a lot of peer editing. All of our students have writing partners that they work closely with throughout each unit, and the writing partner can sometimes help students to be able to figure out what they're really trying to say, where the gap is between what they've written. So when we're editing partner can help us fix up all of those things before it goes into the final publishing stage. So it's really a fixing up stage in order to ensure when we publish that it's gonna be presentable and ready for publishing. So publishing is a very exciting stage in the writing process. This is where we come to an ending point with the piece that we've been working on for several classes, sometimes several weeks. We're preparing our writing for an audience. So this is where students are sometimes rewriting their work by hand, writing it really neatly to make sure that everybody can read all of the words that we've written, adding our illustrations, making things so that the published work is something we can be proud of. How the final piece looks will depend on the topic and the genre, and sometimes the class's choice. It's a final product. The format could be a book, it could be an essay, it could be a poster, it could be a presentation or a speech at the end of something that we're ready to share with the world, and that's the whole point of writing. We're presenting work that we want to share with an audience. So the format of how it gets shared sometimes differs, and we also get to share that work with other people in our school community and with families and friends in the future too.